Alright, YouTube, this is Mr. Mean coming at you this 4th of July, 2020, about 7:40 p.m. I hope everyone is having a safe and sane holiday. Stay safe, for God bless America. Please wear your mask when you go out in public. Let's stop this COVID from spreading. It's more to protect other people, not necessarily yourself. And please, for the love of God, wear the mask over your nose. You're doing no one any good if the mask is below your nose. Wear the mask over your nose. Anyway, let's get some housekeeping out of the way. First and foremost, like and subscribe. Let's grow the Meanie Army. Tell your friends and family about me. It's Talking Head Syndrome. We review RPGs. We talk about RPGs. It's everything tabletop. My content is inspired by you guys. So join my Discord. Join my MeWe page. Let me know what you want to see on the channel next. We're going to hear fireworks in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. I do apologize. You might even hear a little guy screaming in the background because he's getting in the bath. On top of that, I'm on MeWe. I'm on Discord. There's links on my YouTube channel. I am also on ZellyPay if you'd like to donate to the channel, jpolak@gmail.com. It's banked into your banking institution if you're in the U.S. You can just open up your mobile app and you can send a payment. It's instantaneous, or I've never seen it take more than 30, 40 minutes to go through. And obviously any donations that you give are much appreciated. They go back into the channel to help support the channel. I'm also on PayPal Pay Me. There's a link on my YouTube page, and pretty much if you're overseas, most people know how PayPal works. I am also an affiliated member of DriveThruRPG, which means if you use the link down below, right below in the video here, you'll see it on the bottom. If you use that link, it's also be in the notes. That's not a link; it's just posted there. If you use the link, it will take you to my affiliate page, and then you can search for whatever game you want, and I get a kickback. It doesn't cost you anything extra. Puts a couple pennies in my pocket, which I put back into the channel. So all of that out of the way, let's give a shout out to some new subscribers. We are at 711, guys. We have been jumping up like crazy. So Jared 77467, 7 hours ago, he subscribed. Thank you, Jared. Funny little anecdotal story here. Yesterday's or Friday's video I did. I gave a shout out to all the new subscribers, and I apologize for the one guy I couldn't remember. Well, he joined my Discord today, and he sent me a private message, and he said, "Hey, John, it's Patrick Barnes, the guy you couldn't remember on your video." So, Patrick, I owe you a huge thank you and a big shout out. Thanks for subscribing. Patrick comments on my videos and stuff. He watches them. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir. I hope the content is to your liking. If you guys want to talk about RPGs, join my Discord. If you want something reviewed, you're a publisher or you're in the industry, you want to send me a copy, feel free, reach out to me. We'll talk about it. I try to do honest reviews of what I think. With 30 years of GMing experience, I kind of feel qualified to talk on it. If you disagree with me, that's fine. That's America. That's what we love. And we can go from there. But it's healthy conversation I like. Today, as you can see up on the screen, we're talking about Mark, I always want to say Matt because I know a Matt Humphrey. Mark Humphreys, OtherWorlds. This was done in 2011. I'm not sure if it was a Kickstarter. I wasn't involved in it. My good friend Brian Isakoff was, and there's a dedication to him. In fact, I want to read that real quick. I'm going to put it up on the screen here too. Special thanks to Brian Isakoff for sowing the seeds of this whole project in the first place. So again, Brian, I love him like a brother. I've known him for over 20 years. He's a good, dear friend, and he's awesome bits. So, again, I apologize for the fireworks. There's nothing I can do. They're not supposed to be popping them in city limits, but people are idiots. Mark Humphreys, designed by Mark and Mike Holmes. Mark Humphreys with Mark Holmes, additional text by those people. You guys can all read. Brian Isakoff obviously was in there. Illustrated. This is the second reason I love this book. Illustrated by Storm Cook. Those of you that have been following my channel for a while know that I had Storm on the channel. Unfortunately, his video wasn't working, so all we had was a black screen, but it was a nice audio. It was almost like a podcast. So put it on, let it play in the background. You'll hear me talking to Storm and all the crazy things. He's been in the industry for a long time. If you need character portraits and you want art done, you can't go wrong. I love Storm's art. I've been a huge fan since way back in the day. Let's talk about OtherWorlds. It is available on DriveThruRPG. Plug. Use my affiliate link. Go buy yourself a copy. I think it's like $12, $13. You can get the hardback for I think it's $37 for the PDF and the hardback color, or black and white. I think it's black and white, but it's hardback, which I think I'm going to order. I have some credit on drive-through, and I don't have this in a hardback, and I would like it in a hardback. Anyway, there's the cover. It's obviously Storm Cook. That is amazing art right there. Amazing art right there. You can't go wrong with it. So this is the back boiler page, but it's on the inside in PDFs. That's how they do it. So OtherWorlds is a role-playing game of heroic action and adventure for any genre. The game is driven by descriptions of characters, details of actions, and dramatic visualization. Numbers and dice rolls are secondary to the action. In fact, you will find that in OtherWorlds, the rules serve to emphasize the story and increase the drama rather than getting in the way. This book contains the following material: a comprehensive world-building procedure that the whole group gets to take part in. Very true. Over 100 ready-to-use character templates from assassins to xenoarchaeologists and everything in between. Oh my gosh, there's a ton in here. Detailed guidelines on creating your own cultural archetypes, professions, trademark powers, supporting characters, and adventure locations. A simple, elegant conflict resolution procedure that can handle any situation. Turn-based set-piece rules to handle the more important conflicts of your story. A wealth of practical advice on how to get the most out of play based on real experience at the games table. Quick start genre packages for fantasy, horror, pirates, science fiction, superheroes, and the Wild West. Written by Mark Humphreys, illustrated by Storm Cook. Guys, this is, how do I put this? This is the everything in the kitchen sink. This is Savage Worlds. This is GURPS. This is Palladium Fantasy or Palladium Rifts. This is one of those games, but it's much more akin to like Apocalypse Engine or Dungeon World or Scum and Villainy, Blades in the Dark, that kind of game. And not in the mechanics, but in the description and in the verbiage, meaning that this is a highly detailed talking game. If you're tired of D&D where, you know, I hit the monster, I wait for the monster to hit me, I hit the monster, I wait for the monster to hit me, this might be the game for you. If you're very narrative driven, if you find yourself writing a lot of fiction and play-by-post, this might be the game for you. It is very well written. It is a very elegant and simple layout. The art is fantastic in it. You can't go wrong. And it's just laid out very well. It's 208 pages total, with an index and a glossary and character sheets in the back. Mark Humphreys has a WordPress page. It's otherworlds.wordpress.com, I believe. I'll put links down in the doobly-doo. And like I said, you can pick it up off of drive-thru-RPG. We're going to kind of I'm not going to go through every page because obviously it's 208 pages plus. But there's a nice introduction, how to play, what you need. Basically, dice. The mechanic of this game is super simple. It's percentile dice. So 2d10, but you're going to read them as a d100. So nowadays, D100s are pretty easy to come by. You can order them off Amazon. You can get them from ChessX. You can get them from Q Workshop. They're dice that are readily available. Used to be during a time there where they were hard to come by, but now they're pretty easy. And you can always default to your 10s and your 1s D10 dice, which are in most, like ChessX little box set of dice when you buy a basic set of polyhedrals. Most game stores sell dice individually, so you might pay 35, 60 cents per die, and you can go get the colors you want. So it recommends that everybody has a set of percentile dice, whether it's 2d10 or a d10 and a d1, 10s and a 1 die, whatever. And that's all you need, and your imagination. This is highly, highly motivated by your imagination. This is a game where, you know, if I was going to run this, I say, okay, I want to run a space Asian theme game, not anime, space Asian with like ninjas and space samurai and a hierarchical empire ruled by an emperor and with a very, very strong Japanese flavor, but with super high technology. But no mecha, just big spaceships and personal honor, and you can mash those two. So Legends of the Five Rings meets Robotech. without the robots. You could do that. This game will let you do that, and that's what is amazing about it. There are no stats. There's no, oh, I have a plus 10 in strength, or I have a charisma of 10 or 25 or whatever. No, you have abilities that you basically describe. You choose a power level for the game, 10, 20, 30, 40, and that becomes your base level, and then you will add things, descriptors, talents, and you will come up. So if you're trying to swing from the chandelier to land on the table and attack, the bad guy, you may have a talent, that says acrobatic. So that comes into play. So you can add that. And then you'll have various modifiers. You'll add all this together. You'll get a total. You'll roll your D100 and you will add that to it. So the GM may say, okay, in order to give me an acrobatics roll, you're going to need to beat a 65. Well, once you tally up all your talents and everything, you may already have a 70. You're just rolling to see to make sure you might get awesome Uber or whatever. So the game does not focus on the mechanics. The game focuses on the narrative. You're going to sit down together with your players and you're going to ask a bunch of questions. You're going to take feedback. Your players are going to ask questions. You're going to give feedback. And when you're done and everybody's taking notes, you're going to come to a consensus of the theme, the genre, and the environment that you want to play in. And you're going to come out with a points value that basically is going to dictate how you start your characters. This is what's in the book. And it's pretty easy, guys. But it's very narrative. And I have a problem with games like this, for me, like Fate. I love Fate. I think it's a great game. But that adjective system just doesn't jive with me. And that's where my problem lies with this game. Not in any way, shape, or saying that this is a bad game. It's just not a game that I find easy to run for me. Because my brain, I need numbers. I know I say I hate math, but in a way I like math. Because math and science go hand in hand, and I'm a science nerd. But this is a game where you have to be very narrative. You have to be very explicit in your terms, and you're gonna decide on a concept. You're gonna set the tone. You're gonna fill in the details. Here's a world building summaries, and you go through this, and you don't have to do this all in one session. You could start doing this, especially in this time right now where a lot of people are doing stuff, social distancing and play by post and email. This is the perfect kind of game for this because, you can say something, but then you may be able to expound upon it in an email much better than you could verbalize it. And some people are like that. So this is that kind of game. It really, the more detailed you are, the better this game gets. If you just say, I'm a big brute who uses a Tetsubo, well, that's not saying anything. But, if you go, I'm 6'4", 390 pounds of rippling muscle. I'm very angry and I use a Tetsubo, but I love kittens. Now you've got something you can work with, and your GM and you and the other players can all expound and dial that in, and you start writing down these talents and filling in the blank on everything, and boom, you're going to have a character. So again, a character, you're going to discuss the broad concept. I'm a 6'4" rippling muscle bruiser who loves kittens. So there's my concept. Now I decide on a power level. Children, and it's 10, 20, 30, and it goes on. Decide on the game length, brainstorming potential supporting characters. This game is really big on NPCs. So it's kind of the game that if you're really into developing your world and you're tired of D&D or you're tired of Savage Worlds or you're just tired of the default game settings that are out there and you really, really, really want to make it your own, this is the game, guys. This is, plus you got amazing art. I mean, there's Storm Cook right there, super sci-fi with this guy's got a saber on his hip, flesh out characters and situations, create an opening scene. It's very much a dialogue driven between you and your players, or the players and the GM if you're a player. But if you like these story driven, this is another thing. You're having a hard time coming up with a character concept. Your GM says, okay, we're going to sit down, we're going to do a cyberpunk game. And you find this cool piece of art right here. And you go, wow, well, he's got shades, so obviously obviously his future's so bright, he's got to wear shades. Maybe he's very observant. So, you can say he's sharp-eyed or he's very perceptive. or he's eagle-eyed. He has a flaw. He's a chain smoker. This guy smokes one cigarette after another. He's got a cybernetic arm. Special ability is its enhanced strength. He can crush steel. He has a special item which is that SMG, that bullpup rifle. And then a general ability is he has quick draw. He's fast on the gun. And so from this image, a picture is worth 1,000 words. There you can come up with so much. He dresses in a Western theme. He always wears a trench coat. These are things, he blends into a crowd. The GM may say, all right, you're trying to be stealthy. What talents or what abilities do you have? Well, I'm in a trench coat. Everybody in Night City is wearing a trench coat. So it helps me blend in. My trench coat's no different from everybody else's. It may be armored. That's a different quality or a talent. But for the most part, you can add that to your role, and then it helps you achieve more. This is not a heavy die rolling game. It's more of a storytelling game, like Vampire, like Dungeon World, like Scum and Villainy. You are going to roll when you come into conflict, obviously, because it is an RPG. But like I said, it's very narrative on the GM's part and the player's part, and that's what I really like about it. I also am a big fan of D10 dice systems or percentage-based systems, so it wins me over right there. And when you have a conflict between either you and another player or a GM NPC or an environment situation, lockpicking or whatever, you're going to tally up all your attributes and abilities and talents, and then the GM is going to give you a target number, and you're going to roll, and higher is better. So you may roll, all said and done, after all your abilities and your bonuses, and you roll really high on a dice, you may roll 165. Good for you. You've smoked it. And he said the difficulty was going to be 90. So, and sometimes he may not tell you. But there's a nice character generation summary. And again, this is very much a verbiage-based game. You're not going to find... Hi! I've got a snapping little boy here. You want to say hi to everybody? Can you say hi? Say hi.
No.
He says he's going to be shy. No. Is that a book? Can you say hi?
Say hi.
Hi. Can you wave bye-bye? He can make noises, guys. So this game interruption provided to you by NJ the Third. Sorry about that, guys. He came in and wanted to see Daddy. Where were we? Character generation summary. So this is pretty much page 24 is all you need to summarize your overall character concept. And again, this is, like I said, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Throw that picture out there, let everybody, dissect it, go over it, and help you come up with your character. Because it's a group effort. You may have that, 6'4" rippling muscle bruiser who uses a Tetsubo, but then you find a really cool picture, boom, everybody's got a visualization, and it doesn't have to be exact. That's the nice part. It's open to interpretation. So then you invent personal details. Name, describe your appearance, your background. Step 3, choose your template. There's over 100 templates in here, so there's going to be one that kind of supports what you're looking for. And if there's not, you make your own. There's rules on how to make a template. So once your cultural archetype, your professional archetype, characters' trademarks, and your characters' relationships. Step 4, describe your individuality. 8 general abilities, rippling muscles, fast draw, observant, those kind of things. 4 personality traits. Chain smoker, always looks around nervous, relaxed demeanor, those kind of things. Choose 4 personal relationships. Could be with the other players, could be with NPCs. Maybe you and the GM have worked out something. 4 goals, it could be whatever. Trying to find my little sister, trying to quit smoking, it could be whatever. And then 4 flaws, the chain smoking, anger issues, anything that's a flaw, obviously rely on your strength of other role-playing games. In other games, if you have a library like mine, you're going to be able to find a bunch of flaws. Assign ratings. All abilities start with a rating equal to the agreed upon power level. Remember in the beginning I said you're going to choose a power level, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. This is where all your abilities start at that starting level. And then you apply a +5 bonus to one ability from each template. Apply a 10% bonus to an individuality trait and a 5% bonus to 2 others. So you're customizing your character. So you should have no 2 characters in the game that are exactly the same, unless someone's just copying yours. And even then, it would still be different because they would look different. Apply a -10 penalty to one individuality trait and a 5% penalty to 2 others. So that, you're balancing out there. You're giving and then create story hooks. Describe a preliminary supporting character. Choose a temporary prologue ability and collect 3 spotlight points. Spotlight points are just that. You spend them and the scene focuses in on you. And so you go in here and, again, there's the art, filling in the blanks. You go through this superhero trademark, super strength, and it they're giving you some examples. Professional archetype, modern day professional archetype, cop. So here's some of the things maybe the cop would have. He uses a baton. He's search suspects. And how many trademarks do I get? It tells you. So, this is very much a verbiage type game. Like I said, there's no hard and fast, but once you make a character, it will make sense. And especially if your GM goes through it, makes a couple, for himself, maybe some NPCs. It's just fill in the blanks, guys. It's not terribly difficult. The creative juices will start flowing. And if you're stuck, if you don't understand, talk it out with the rest of the players. If one guy's playing the medic and one guy's playing the stealth, infiltrator guy, maybe they need some muscle. Are you okay with playing the shooter or the bruiser? Start talking about it. You'll be amazed at how it all flows, and you'll come up with all these trademarks and abilities and flaws and personalities. And it will grow, and in no time you'll have a fully fleshed out character. You assign your ratings, fill in the blank characters. They give you a little note here. Individuality, choose 3 defining weaknesses. You'll apply those modifiers of +10, -5, +5, whatever. Those are, you're going to subtract or add that to your total. Then you add that to your dice, and there you go. And then you're looking to add higher than that number. And what kind of day it's been. I love this because it goes through and it says, you're starting off, you're going to describe what happened. So, and you're going to do that spotlight. Your spotlight points, the very last thing to do before you start playing is note down your beginning spotlight points are a kind of metagame currency that you can spend to focus the game's camera in a particular detail of the story you find interesting. So it's your way to take narrative control, and you and the GM and maybe even the other players, depending on how liberal you are with your conversation, you guys can focus in on this one thing, and you're ready to play. That's it. So example character, Sheridan Heist. So it gives you this. And the book is it's laid out really well. It's clean. I might say there's an overuse of the text boxes, but for the layout and the consistency and the theme of the book, it's solid. I'd like to see some color in it. Here's a character sheet filled out, Sheridan Heist. So remember, there's going to be a lot of writing. The blank character sheet is this with none of this writing in there. All this writing is gone. You can see their value is set at 30, and then you just go in there and you go nuts. You fill it all out. Trademark, general ability, doesn't have any because he hasn't played the character long enough. Those will come into play. And the nice thing is, like in Dungeon World or Apocalypse Engine, you can, when something maybe pivotal happens or you do something really cool, you can turn that into a trademark ability or a trait or a relationship by just noting it down. And if everybody agrees and the GM says it's cool, which most of the time they will, you can put it on there on your character sheet, and now that character has grown. There's something more to him than there was before, which is really neat. Your relationships, and Viking Saga, these are different concepts, where he's going through and describing the era of, or the genre of play, which is Vikings, and it kind of describes it a little bit. The Infected, this is, modern day with zombie apocalypse, basically. Again, set up power levels 20, so you're everyday guys, using templates, and different things. So it just goes through there, and there's several of these where you can, modern day archetypes, kind of gives you everything you need. Drifter, playboy, scholar, private investigator, office worker, because when the zombie apocalypse happens, everybody's it's fend for yourself, and so this is really nice. Trademarks, they kind of break down the anatomy of a trademark. The game, I don't want to say it jumps around, but it's a little almost unfocused in that aspect, because here we are going through these genres, so to speak, these worlds, and then they're telling you how to create your own trademarks, which I personally feel that should have been at the very beginning during character creation. But I get what he was going for, and it's okay. And then we're just going to, sidekicks. What happens if I don't have a trademark? There you go. So can kind of tell you, fill you in there. Again, the art is fantastic. Martial arts theme there. Let's see what else we get into. I don't want to go through it too fast. Supporting cast. So this is the NPCs in the world. It's kind of a GM, but also a player section, because you're going to have supporting cast members. You're going to have NPCs, that you're going to know. And this is, the GM's going to obviously want to read this and be prepared to help support that. Supporting cast abilities, obviously they're not as strong as you, but they're built basically the same way. They just have a lot less. Animal companion, the cohort, contact, the dependent, the mentor, love interest, all kinds of cool stuff. And conflicts and how you can bring them in. The art, again, is fantastic. It's Storm Cook. You can't go wrong. This is a great section for GMs. Reoccurring villains. Even if you're not going to play OtherWorlds, this is useful information for a GM. A lot of the information in this book is really good for players and GMs. If you don't like the mechanics and you don't like the game itself, at least take it for the face value of reading it and applying it to other games you do like. Maybe you're a diehard D&D or diehard Pathfinder or Savage Worlds. There is something in here for you that you can take to those other games, which I think is very important. You should always be growing and learning in some aspect. Role-playing is a great escape from reality, but it's also a great way to expound upon your own knowledge and learn things. And so, obviously, reading is knowledge. Knowledge is power. And this is, I bless the day my mom brought home that original D&D set, Dungeons and Dragons from Tactical Simulations Realities, in a little Ziploc bag, and sat down with me and cut out all those little chits, because there were no polyhedral dice back then, and me and my mom played D&D. The first person I ever played D&D with was my mom, and she had no interest in it whatsoever. My mom was a big science fiction fantasy reader, and she read a ton of romance novels, but she was a big reader, and so it instilled on me the love of reading. And every night I go to bed with my iPad, and I have a book of something on there that I'm reading. So, and that's every night. Silver Age. So here's a campaign idea. Again, great art. You're obviously getting a theme here, and it gives you some concepts, power level, before the game, structure of play, during the game, after the game. Again, amazing art. You can't go wrong with this. Robots of the Third Empire, another campaign idea. There's tons. This book is just chock full. It's a lot of reading. There's not a whole lot of art in the game, but I think it's broken up in such a way that it's digestible. Again, fantastic full page art by Storm. Just amazing. I can't speak highly enough about the art. And again, I've already called the layout. I like the layout. It's very simple. It's very clear. It's very concise. It's just really well done. Mark does go on to say on his blog or his WordPress page for OtherWorlds, the game is, I don't want to say dead, but for lack of a better word, he considers it complete. There's nothing else coming out for this game. So that's another, you can take that as a pro, and the fact that this is really all you need to buy. There is another book out there. It'll be on his website. I don't remember what it is. It's a sci-fi setting of some kind with everything that goes into sci-fi. So I don't have a particular interest in it just because I'm not running this, but I may pick it up to review later. But this is all you need. So if you get the PDF, you can share it with your play group. Like this is a big thing I do. I print them and I spiral bound them at your local Kinko's or your FedEx copy store, Office Max, whatever you have in your area, local office supply store. I made the mistake of accidentally printing this on one side, so I have every page is only one-sided, so I kind of wasted. This would have been a lot slimmer book. So please don't think that this is the thing. The book is a lot thinner. It's only 208 pages. So it would have been 104 pages, which would have been basically about that thick. which would have been nice had I not, but I wasn't going to reprint it because that's just a waste of paper. So I rolled with this, and like I said, it's easy to read. I like having this because then I can throw this on the table and the players can look at it. And then I have my copy on either my iPad or my Mac while I'm GMing, and I can reference things. It's smart indexed for me through Firefox, or not Firefox, Foxit PDF. So I can type in a word, and it'll, I can just cycle through it. Adobe does it too, like a word find basically. So that's the, you can look at it as a pro that this is all you need to buy. If you want the sci-fi book, you can buy that as well. And you have everything you ever need here. You don't have to go out and buy more. So it's not like getting into D&D or Pathfinder where, every month they're coming out with a new book, sometimes 2 books in a month. And books get expensive, man. I mean, the Pathfinder Bestiary 2nd edition, $49.99. And there's going to be a Bestiary 3, so now you feel like, oh, I got to buy that as well. So that's, some people may say, oh, it's a dead game, there's no more books, why would I want to play this? You want to play this because of the hours of endless imagination that you and your group is going to be able to provide each other. This is very much a social game. I think it would be a good play-by-post game as well. So if you have some friends that don't live close to each other and they're into the play-by-post, I think this is an excellent game for play-by-post because it's very, like I said, narrative. It's very verbose and it's very descriptive. So I think you would have a good time with that. But it's also good for face-to-face play. I kind of would like my players, but my players don't want to play anything but D&D and Pathfinder, and I hate running D&D. I'm just not a fan of running the D&D world. I don't like it. Pathfinder I can tolerate. I actually do like Pathfinder a lot. I'm a huge fan of Savage Worlds. I'm a fan of Powered by the Apocalypse, Dungeon World, those kind of games. So we are going to be trying some other games once this COVID thing is over. I just have to ease them into it slowly, and they love seeing their Pathfinder characters advance. So, and I don't blame them. Pathfinder is a very good game. So, using props in conflict, some really great information in here for any game. It's not just for OtherWorlds. So, determine the winner, roll the dice. We talk about rolling out in the open, spotlight option, reversing the polarity. Example of a pursuit, each side, just everything about the mechanics, margins of victory, describe the results, count the consequences, just really cool stuff. Guys, all I can say is buy the game. It's awesome. It's awesome. I mean, and not for the fact that it's just Storm Cook art, not for the fact that my buddy Brian had a hand in developing it and writing it, just for the fact that it's a good game. Go to WordPress and go to Mark Humphreys' site and give him kudos, man, and tell him Mr. Mean sent you. So it's a great game. I mean, more fantastic art, set pieces, when to use a set piece, just great advice for GMs and players. This is just a lot of good information that's you can carry over to any other game. And I would say this is a good game for a new GM. You're going to have to do a lot of reading. You're going to have to make some notes, but it's a good game to get your feet wet because it's not so rules intensive. Once you've got the basic concept down of the mechanics, you're solid. Now it's all narrative. I would say this is 80%, 85% narrative, 15% mechanics. And that's awesome for a game because if your reading comprehension is strong, and let's face it, if you're a gamer, your reading comprehension is strong. And you'll be able to pick this up in no time. Once you make that first 1 or 2 characters, you'll get that concept down, and you'll be spitting out characters like there's no tomorrow. And it really, the sky is your oyster, man. You can do whatever it is you want to do. How to earn spotlight points. Again, more fantastical art. What happens when you lose a supporting character? So all kinds of cool stuff. It talks about supporting characters, development, playing in OtherWorlds. Let's see if they give some more. Jupiter Crash, super cool campaign idea. Concept: the characters are Han Solo, Firefly, Traveler-esque smugglers trying to scratch a living in a slowly dying universe. Power level 30, no trademarks, droid companions, no aliens. The group ship is represented as a supporting character in its own right. Tone, dark space opera combined with survival horror and post-apocalyptic disaster movie tropes. There's your game world right there. You've got it all set, you know. And you can, I mean, and it goes in, it gives you all the inspiration and all the information that you'll need. I mean, it's all in there. Oh, it's a great piece of art right there. Interhan at the Gate of Infinity. I don't love the art. Don't get it, but love the art. Samurai Hengeyokai. Young anthropomorphic animals in a Saturday morning cartoon style Oriental fantasy. Power level 10. 2 trademarks, 1 species, 1 martial art, and 1 supernatural power. Culture, the Stolen Kingdoms. Profession, apprentices only. Farmer, blacksmith, samurai, ninja, warrior monk, etc. So, you want to play Usagi Yojimbo? There you go. You've got everything you need. And again, it goes through and tells you everything you need to do to play that character. Genre snapshot fantasy, you know. I mean, everything is in here that you need. Ooh, that very cool art. It's been a while since I looked at the PDF, so I apologize if I'm kind of drooling over it. It's very well done. Science fiction, you know, just superheroes. That would be mine. I would run this if my players would play a superhero genre, I would totally run this. I'm a huge fan of Mutants and Masterminds, also of Necessary Evil for Savage Worlds, a really good one. So let's see what else we got in here. Rule summary. So here you go. This is page 199. We're almost at the end of the book. It's only a 208-page book. So you print this page, these 2 pages, 3. Yeah, you print those 3 pages. You can even put that on a GM screen, and you've got everything you need to run the game, guys. It's that simple. Conflict resolution. Player describes his character's action. Player describes his goals, meaning what happens if the character wins. Player and the GM agree the stakes. What happens if the character loses it? So you're going to have a discussion. You allocate screen time. You decide whether the roll or make it an automatic success. It depends. You know, you're trying to swing across the chandeliers and come down and cut the guy's head off. Obviously, that's an opposed roll. But if you're just trying to swing across the chandeliers and do a backflip and land on the table, if the GM and you feel that you have the necessary abilities and trademarks to do that, or just abilities, there's no need to roll. And that's what's nice about this game. You don't have to roll the dice for every single, like in D&D, you kind of have to roll everything, because everything, it's just the way the game is built. It's not a bad thing. It's just the way the game is built. And here, you leave it up to narrative control of the GM, and you feel that, oh, come on, I'm a swashbuckler. It's what I do, you know. Then the GM can go, yeah, okay, so you do that, but you are going to have to roll to attack the bad guy. Okay, well, that makes sense, because the bad guy's going to try to resist. That's just not going to stand there and let you cut his head off, right? Unless he's got a death wish, which maybe he does, and the GM hasn't told you. And you could be like, so the GM may make you roll, and then you notice he doesn't roll any dice, and he goes, you cut his head off. What now? Yeah, little did you find out later in the play that he had a death wish. Or maybe he was so far in debt that by dying, an insurance policy would pay off and his family would be taken care of. Great. You've helped him take care of his family, but you're the guy who killed him. Now his eldest son is coming after you. All kinds of stuff you can go with this, guys. You can go nuts with this. So there's basically conflict resolution, set pieces, spotlight points, how to use them, and then there's a glossary, which is very helpful, because this game does use some terms that you, especially if you're a new GM or a new player, you may not necessarily be familiar with. So definitely take the time to look at that. The index is very helpful as well. And then, of course, I think there's a supporting character sheet. That's for supporting cast, and then the player character sheet. So as you can see, you're going to be doing a lot of writing. I don't know if there's a PDF version of this that's form fillable. It would be nice if there is. Obviously, you could just print this page and go with it, but a form fillable one would be nice, because I write like a doctor. So obviously having something that I could pre-fill out would be great for me, because I write like shit. So guys, that's OtherWorlds. I hope that gives you kind of an idea of the game, and maybe it sparks your interest. Check it out on Drive-Thru RPG. go to Mark Humphreys' WordPress page and tell him Mr. Mean sent you. And if you pick up the game, of course, tell him Mr. Mean sent you. Use that affiliate link. But you don't have to, of course. Be nice if you did, but you don't have to. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I think this is a very cool game. I think it's very open-ended and very narrative-driven. And I think if you have that kind of gamer group, or if you're a new group, maybe you've been playing D&D for 10 years, try something different. Get out of that hack and slash and find a little bit of narrative and expound upon, your world and your verbiage, and grow your vocabulary. You might just find out you like it, and it might try something different. Go out and get out, especially if you're a GM, get out of your comfort zone and play something that's not you. If you've been a D&D GM or a Pathfinder GM and you've never ran anything else, you're really good at that. Try something different. You might find that you like it. Variety is the spice of life, right? We say we hate change, but then we buy new books, we buy new video games, we buy new cars every so often. We like change to a certain degree, so find your comfort level. You could run D&D in OtherWorlds, and you might find that it's a much better game. So give it a try, guys. Let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to doing more. This was a great weekend. It's a long weekend, so I was able to pop out a second video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Tell me what you think of OtherWorlds. If you pick it up, give it a read through. Post down here in the notes and let me know what you think. If you already have it and you've ran it, let me know what you think about it. I want to know. Pop on Discord and let me know. We'll talk about it. As always, guys, peace, love, and hair grease. And remember, social distancing. Let's kill this virus. It can't spread if we don't spread it. And as always, happy 4th of July. God bless. I love you. Peace. And remember, Mr. Mean always says, be nice.